It's time for Stepping Out with D.Lashay and street reporter Everett Anderson. Stepping Out, the show that encourages you to step out of the box of ordinary and into the extraordinary. Stepping out of the box into a life of liberty and rejuvenation. And now, here's your host of Stepping Out, D.Lashay.
Welcome to Stepping Out. I am your host, D.Lashay. And today we are discussing divorce and the effects it have on children emotionally. When a couple decides to split, and there are children involved, the effects can be catastrophic. Often children are forced to choose which parent to live with, creating animosity and resentment from parents toward the child. They witness verbal bashing and usually are in between the parents during the arguing. Today, I want to welcome our guest, Mr. Raymond Shields, as he discussed the changes he endured going through divorce personally in his life. Let us welcome Mr. Raymond Shields. Hey. Hi, Raymond. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you. So tell me, how long were you married?
I was married for 18 years. I've been divorced for a little over 5. We were the typical all-American family. They're both of us professionals. We had a beautiful home. I had 3 children. When we got divorced, I had one son who was a junior in high school, and then an 8th grader and a 6th grader.
Okay. Was it a mutual agreement for you all to divorce?
No, we actually have a very, very troubled divorce. Probably one of the nastiest divorces you could imagine. I do feel like my children could see it coming. However, if you were on the outside looking in at us, we were the all-American family. We were involved in our church. Our children were involved in athletics. Unless you were inside the 4 walls of our house, you would not have known that there was the marital discourse that there was.
Okay. So you say the children could sense that maybe the parents you all were going to split?
I don't think that the children thought that we would split, but the pressures that come from being a 2-income family, all the bills that are expected to be paid to live the lifestyle that we had when you're running children to soccer practice, dance practice, football practice, wanting to purchase your children a car, all the stresses that come with that, as well as trying to be a family, they could sense the stress that was in the household.
So when you all decided that divorce was the route that you all were going, did you all talk to the children about it?
No, I just left. We came to a boiling point and I left the house. And so the children sat down and talked with me after I left, but before we split, there was no sit down, this is what mom and dad are going to do.
Do you think that the children were upset about the divorce or upset with you for leaving?
I think that there's one of the problems that you run into, I believe, with divorce is that you have 2 really angered and damaged people in the parents. I hurt deeply, she hurt deeply. And so the children see their parents, and their parents are at this point in their lives where they're in distress, and the children feel for their parents, and they want to be able to make things right, but they don't know how to make things right. And so they become angry at the situation they're in because they're frustrated. They don't know what to do to help the situation. And in the case of my children, one of my children blamed himself and thought that he was the reason that we were getting divorced.
Oh, wow. Okay. So once you left the home, how long was it before you all filed the paperwork to get the divorce?
I filed paperwork within 3 weeks. It was very quick. One of the things that I think is very, very important in the divorce proceeding is you have to, as from my perspective, it was very, very important that I have a good attorney. Luckily for me, I had the best attorney possible for me. And anybody who's going to go through divorce, I think that you really need to find that right attorney. My attorney's been with me for 5 years. We've never lost a motion in court. She's always had my best interest in heart, and she's been a true advocate for me. On the other hand, my ex-wife, she's now representing herself because she's been through 4 attorneys and they've all quit the case on her. So it's really important to understand the legal battles that you're going to face. Even after the divorce is final, if you have children, the children are still going to be in the mix until they're actually out of the house and gone.
Okay. So once you all filed a divorce, did you all consider your children's thoughts and feelings? Did you ever talk to them about what they feel or what they wanted?
We did. I think we did not talk together with them. One of the things that was very important to me and was very important to my attorney was we demanded that there be a court-appointed counselor. And so probably 2 months into trying to get the divorce settlement reached, we did acquire a psychologist who met with all of the children, who met with my ex-wife, who met with me, and we tried to work through that. Counseling is crucial in this situation for the children as well as for the two parents going through divorce. That was one of the things that my attorney was adamant about. You're going to get a physical and you're going to see your doctor. You're going to go to a psychologist and you're going to get so that you can be mentally prepared for the horrendous things that happen when you go through a divorce.
So did your divorce affect you mentally and emotionally?
Oh, it did. It was. I never believed at the point I was in my life that I would be a divorced individual. I was 48 years old. I surely did not expect that I would be a single man on his own with 3 adult children that, were no longer in that family unit. What a lot of people, when they go into divorce, and I'm guilty of this, don't understand is that Thanksgivings are never the same. Christmases are never the same. And the children are the ones that are affected by that.
Right.
When you're bickering over who gets to see the children on Easter Sunday, those kinds of things really take their toll. The children are manipulated between churches. We had been active in one particular church for a tremendous amount of time, but as soon as I left, we could no longer attend the same church. So now the children, when they're with me, they had to choose to go with me to my church, and I had to work with my daughter to get her into church by going to the church she would like for me to visit. So there's so many different things that the children ask for, and you have to consider. One of the things that was really destructive was the custody arrangement. We were on a custody arrangement, was 2 nights with me, 2 nights with her, every other weekend. My daughter just would cry because I'm living out of a suitcase. And that's very, very hard. So luckily, we were able to work together and we went to a week-to-week custody basis. I do think it's very, very important to have joint custody of the children if that's possible, which is what we had. As time progressed, the children were put in the middle. There was a lot of things that happened, and so through that, there was a lot of alienation, and with that came the children began to stay mostly with their mother, very seldom with me.
So it affected them, their environment, and emotionally. So was that bothering you, seeing them going through living out of the suitcase, as you said?
Oh, I felt it was horrible for the children. And one of the things that really was distressing was to seeing how they reacted with their schoolwork and their behavior and the acting out. And through no fault of their mothers or through no fault of my own, the children would play us against each other. And when they became smart enough to know that they could play us between each other to get what they wanted, we had to step in and stop that.
Do you think they play the parents against each other because the parents aren't speaking?
I think that they play the parents against each other because they know that they can get what they want by making me the bad guy to her. Here's an opportunity for her to do something to be good in their eyes.
Right.
When they make her the bad person in front of me, here's my opportunity to step in and be the good guy. And so it really causes a lot of family discourse.
Okay. Thank you. We will be back with our discussion with Mr. Raymond, dealing with the effects of divorce, after these messages.
We live in a world where no one wants to be a loser. But what happens when losing means winning? What are we referring to, you ask? We are talking about inches. Yes, losing inches and shaping your body. The Stepping Out Transformation Project of 2014 is being led by the talk show host and author D.Lashay and Miss Monica McLaurin. We invite you to join our team as we get healthy and shed off inches off our waist, our hips, arms, and every area that fat likes to tuck in and take up residence. It's time to file an eviction notice on the unhealthy areas of your life and build a new, healthier you. Are you ready? You can do it. Start making the transformation today by liking us on Facebook, visiting our website, and emailing us pictures at steppingouttalkshow@gmail.com. We are stepping out in 2014 to be healthier because we know that as we lose weight, we are winners.
Welcome to your life. The early mornings. The diet. The commute. The job. The exams. The lunch hour. The best intentions. Welcome to the one small change that changes everything. Welcome to Automatic Body.
Welcome back to Steppin Out, and we're talking with Mr. Raymond Shields, dealing with the effects of divorce. So Raymond, when your divorce started, did you feel like your life had come to an end, or you felt like this is a time to totally rebuild my life?
Well, I think it became a time to rebuild. It became a time to focus somewhat on myself and to become the best man I could be, because without being the best man I couldn't be the best father for my children. What I discovered going through this was that when you're a married couple, you surround yourself with married friends. And then all of a sudden you're a single man and a divorced man, and so your circle of friends just tightens very closely. You aren't invited to the parties that you were used to be invited to, because
so
nobody wants to.
Friends choose?
Friends
want
choose.
A couple?
And what I also think happens is that you run friends off. You're so focused and centered on your divorce that when you do meet with a friend and they ask the question, "How are you?" you start going into all the stuff that's going on with you and your divorce, and people don't want to hear that. So I found that it was very important for me to have my own counselor, so that I knew that on a weekly basis for an hour, that person was going to be focused on hearing from me and only from me, and that gave me the opportunity to discuss things so that I didn't have to just lay it all on my friends.
Right.
And so that was very important.
Did your children want to choose which parent they wanted to stay with?
I think that one of the things that happened in my case was that when you divorce and you have two income families, if one parent tries to keep the same level of house, the same level of lifestyle, and doesn't make any adjustments, the children will make that choice. I did not choose to go buy another big house or to rent another big house. And so the children were living with me. They were not used to living in an apartment setting. Where my ex, she went and rented a big house. So they chose based on the lifestyle that they were used to.
Right.
I don't think that they really chose at first because of I like mom more than I like dad. I think it was where they were living and the lifestyle they had.
Common with children.
Right.
So did
and
your
you can't blame the children
Right,
for
no,
that.
exactly. Did your children get counseling
No.
through the courts?
We had counseling after the divorce. There was no court-ordered counseling. I have since been back into court, and we have demanded, and the court did order that my ex take the children for counseling. So there was a counseling sessions that were ordered at the court. One of the problems.
Let me ask you this: when a couple decides to divorce, they don't put it in order that the children go through counseling?
It's not standard, and that's one of the things that I'm working towards here. I've written letters to legislators and have been talking to people trying to get it changed. One of the things in Tennessee, if you have minor children, each parent is required to go through a parenting education class that's approved by the courts. To tell you how ridiculous that is, it's an hour-long class and you look at a videotape. You're supposed to have a certificate that you've attended the class and submit that to the court prior to the divorce proceedings. My ex didn't even go take the class or do anything until over a month passed. And so the court really doesn't even care, and they don't pay enough attention. I think that if you have minor children, they're totally lost in this in the whole proceedings. Child support is done by an Excel spreadsheet. The numbers are put in and there's no negotiation.
Right.
There's no demand that the children get counseling. I think that every child of divorce should mandate prior to a final divorce decree that children should get counseling unless there is documented cases of abuse or abandonment. But for any other reason, the children really have no advocate in the court.
So the children don't have a voice at all.
They really don't. And it's a misconception
Even
that the
when
children...
because usually they say children can get on the stand and say which parent they want to live with, so that's not true.
Well, as my attorney explained it to me, was that children have the ability to ask to be with one parent, but if the children are not making good decisions, the judge is not going to let them make that decision. If their schoolwork is horrible, if they're not going to class, if they're causing problems, if there's other issues that are going on and they're not making a good decision in other parts of their lives, the judge will not let them be the one who makes this decision. It's not up to... There's no rule that says once you turn 16, you can choose which parent you live with. That's just not really the case.
So let me ask you this. Do you see your children now? Are you able to see them?
My children and I have a relationship through text messaging. And one of the things that I have done with my counselor and my attorney, it has just been said that until they're all 18 and they're all out of the house, which I have one more who has one more year till she's 18, and that they can make their decisions, that it's best just to not push. They hear from me on a regular basis that I love them and I miss them and I'm there for them if they need anything, but to force anything would not be a good idea, and that it's time for me to find happiness for me and to let them reach their decisions when they're old enough to make those decisions.
So you think that everybody, when you're fighting in court so much, sometimes a person gets to the point where they're just like, I'm done, just the fighting is not worth it, or it's just too much and you have to back up?
Well, as my attorney told me, she said, you've got one more year, you can drag this out and it will drag out for much longer, and it's just not worth it. And at some point the children are tired of it. They get dragged to court, they get tired of hearing mom griping and complaining about dad. They get tired of dad complaining and griping about mom, and they want to be done with it. And as the longer you drag it out and the more you go to court, you're just really filling the coffers of the attorney's pockets as opposed to getting any resolution.
So how does that affect you not being able to see them?
Oh, it's very, very hard. It's the most difficult part of my life. I have to count on the fact that I have a tremendous amount of faith in God. I do believe that God works for me, through me, and with me, and that there will come a time when truth will prevail. I don't think that, you can ask a 17-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 22-year-old to comprehend and understand what takes place through divorce. And once they reach maturity and once they understand, then at that point in time, they will know what the truth is, and then there will be a relationship restored between me and my children.
That's awesome. I'm hoping you have that time where you all can
I'm sure it will.
join together and talk and just move forward past the pain, because divorce is so hard.
Well, they're great kids. I'm very, very proud of them.
So it hasn't affected them with their education? And
it has. They've really struggled with performing in school, and there's a lot of guilt that a father will have that I do have, that maybe if we had not separated and divorced when we did and had stayed till they got out of school, that things might be different for them. Anybody that tells you that, children are not affected dramatically by divorce would be wrong.
Okay. So, will you ever marry again?
I sure would. And I understand you're single, so...
Yeah, so hey, you want to make it work? Want to go out?
So,
I'm just joking with
Sure.
you, but
I believe
most people who have had a bad divorce, they don't have anything positive to say about marriage or ever want to be married again.
I think that when you're married and it's good, it's the best lifestyle you can possibly have. My ex-wife gave me 3 beautiful children, and there were times in our lives that were fabulous and fantastic, and it was the best lifestyle there could be. But when it's bad, it's the worst lifestyle you can possibly live.
Divorce is never easy, but sometimes it is necessary. In any event, when children are involved, we must try and be civil towards one another. Bashing one another causes children to resent their parents. No matter how hard you try to make a marriage work, if it ends in divorce, please consider the children and their thoughts. Divorce is never easy, and there are never any winners when it comes to divorce. It's possible to rebuild your life and have a prosperous life and have joy and peace even after a divorce. Until next time, I am your host, D.Lashay.
Partygoers Catering, a taste you can't forget for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. We provide exquisite entrees, hors d'oeuvres, and desserts, beautifully designed to make your event successful and unforgettable. We'll handle the details and add a touch of elegance to your next wedding, corporate event, graduation, or special occasion. Our wide selection of menu choices will leave you wanting for nothing. Partygoers Catering. We travel. Call us today at 615-419-1879 or visit partygoerscatering.com.
Welcome to your life. The early mornings. The diet. The commute. The job. The exams. The lunch hour. The best intentions. Welcome to the one small change that changes everything. Welcome to Automatic Body.
Thank you for watching Stepping Out with D.Lashay. We hope you are uplifted, motivated, and encouraged. If you'd like to be a guest on the show or become a sponsor, call the number on the screen or visit steppinouttalkshow.com. Stay up to date with Steppin' Out by liking us on Facebook and following us on Instagram and Twitter. Be on the lookout for contests, giveaways, and behind-the-scenes footage you can only see online.
Let me ask you this.
And now, here's your host of Steppin' Out, D.Lashay.
Please help me welcome Miss Tiffany Love.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Ecstatic to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So let me ask you, what made you become an advocate for bullies? If there is anyone that may feel like they can't do anything or they're not qualified or because of their past, they're not qualified to reach their goals and dreams, Don't let the doubt that you have in your head stop you from going forward, because I'm one that can honestly say that as a kid, living in the projects and running home, dodging bullets when we get off the bus, and running home because kids want to fight you, and just all of those things. If you would have asked me as a kid back then, could I or would I be hosting a television show, I would honestly say no. That was the farthest thing from my mind. But I am here to say, if there's anybody that looks at themselves and say that don't feel like that they're worthy, don't feel like they're qualified, don't feel as if they're smart enough, or that they have done too much in their life to be able to have something good happen for them, or it's too much that has happened for you to pursue your goals and dreams. That's not true. Your biggest enemy is not people around you that's fighting against you or don't want you to have something. Your biggest enemy is yourself, your thought process. It's the things that you tell yourself. It's the things that you think about yourself. Once you get past the point of doubting yourself and having those uncertainties in your own mind, there's such a broad range of opportunities for you. Then you can have people around you of the like mindset of where you're trying to go. You can have that positive energy around you, but it first starts battling the things and the thoughts that you have in your own mind.
It's time for Stepping Out with D.Lashay and street reporter Everett Anderson. Stepping Out, the show that encourages you to step out of the box of ordinary and into the extraordinary. Stepping out of the box into a life of liberty and rejuvenation.
Outro 5.
Welcome back to Stepping Out.
On the next Stepping Out.
Do you think that the stress that you endure is because of the love that you have for your parents?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I wouldn't think twice about it. They cared for me, raised me. I'm a single parent, so, they've helped me with my son plenty of times. So if I had to do it all over again, I would. Just with a little bit of structure, less stress.
It's a blessing to see that what you're doing with your parents and just giving up your own personal life to care for them is, it makes me feel good. It touches my heart. So I just want you to take a day to enjoy yourself, okay?
I sure will. I appreciate it. I'm sorry for that.
It's okay. It's okay. It's not a certain one you have to go to.
I think